My name is Michael, and I'm sort of the new head of sales in Adventure. Adventure is the software development house who's built the Materia. And the goal for this webinar today is to talk about and find some answers, maybe for the questions to how to sell complex products online. Chris, if you don't mind, can you mute your microphone? Thank you. But if you have any questions during the webinar, don't be afraid to ask or raise hand, and we can talk about it. So, yeah, so we will be the goal of this webinar is to help you find answers and solutions to business problems you deal with probably every day, but ones that probably don't get that much attention. And some of the questions I hope that we'll find answers today are that why the existing tools that you use don't work for your product types. What is the real cost and time of managing your current tech stack? And then we will talk about the sort of framework for solving these problems and how software should work when it's built around your business logic and understanding. And at one point we will show you an example of our client who reduced their sales cycle from 2 weeks to 2 hours. So the main problem that nobody's talking about is the problem of margin. And let's start with something most people in the industry feel, but they're not talking about it that often. So it's the manufacturing margin and under pressure. Manufacturing margin are under pressure. Mainly it comes from the raw materials aren't getting cheaper, salaries are rising, and there are plenty of geopolitical issues happening every day as well. And of course, most of you have been optimizing factory operations for years and are probably doing it all the time or thinking about it all the time anyways. So there is sort of one place that manufacturers don't often look, and this is the office, and specifically the sales processes there. What happens from the moment the customer reaches your website and everything that follows, from the purchase intent all the way to the right files arriving on the production line. So where margin is actually leaking. This comes from research and our own clients' experience. How much time goes into producing a quote? That number is surprisingly large, roughly half of working time, and financially it translates to, depending of course the sector and your business logic, financially it's around 40,000 per year. So all the time and money could go toward creating business value in areas where you can't automate. So this is purely an office problem in our opinion, and one that often doesn't even get thought about or not paid attention to. Alongside the margin problem, there's a second pressure coming directly from your customers. 80% of B2B buyers expect the same sort of experience they're used to doing everyday purchases, like when they're buying, I don't know, airplane tickets or shoes or t-shirts or whatnot. I don't know if you have thought about it that much, but personally, I'd much rather prefer the sort of self-service experience, which is smooth and on my terms as well. So that gap is starting to have a real cost now. This creates longer sales cycles, no customer-friendly buying experience, and customers quietly go to competitors because the process is too slow and even sometimes painful. And at the same time, you didn't create that problem. Your product is genuinely complex and needs a sort of different approach. Next is let's talk about the category cap. Why don't the existing solutions work? Your product requires dimensions, angles, materials, parts, I don't know, configurations, and all kinds of different variations. These affect price, lead time, production, etc. And all that information needs to be captured before the transaction happens. So e-commerce solutions were built for t-shirts that have only, I don't know, 15 variations, color and size. You are selling something totally different kind of animal. And this isn't technology failure. It's the wrong technology being available for your category. Right now, one technology solves one problem, and to cover multiple problems, often companies use multiple technologies basically bolted together. So if we'll take a closer look at the problem, why standard e-commerce can't sell complex product, it's fairly simple. And usually when visitor arrives at your site with the intention to buy, they see images. Sometimes they have visual configurator where they can turn and twist and, I don't know, maybe even change a color. But they still have to fill something out, send the inquiry, and wait. So you have no way to give a customer the experience they are used to, or they're used to in their everyday life, sort of. And you on the business side, you have no way to capture the information that matters to you. And that's just because the retail tech that's available, they don't have CAD support, they don't have static, they only have static pricing options. They don't use product logic there, so it breaks, and also there is no production data available for those regular retail technologies, and everything still sort of needs a manual overview. So sort of this wall appears in the middle. One side is the customer's access to information, and the other side is your access you want from customer to move on with the purchase. So the tools that are often used, and you've tried some of them or using them right now. For example, Shopify, WooCommerce, and even WordPress. They don't have any CAD support. Like I mentioned earlier, the prices are static. They don't have real configuration logic. CPQ or generic CPQ tools are built for simpler products. They don't have any engineering constraints. Sometimes Excels are still in use. They are sometimes they can be fairly impressive, but they're unstable. They have high maintenance costs, and they're not customer facing in that sense. And of course, the ERP models, these are built for order management, not converting customers. And they're not, in a sense, they are not bad solutions. They are not just designed for your product's specific characteristics. It's the same, like you wouldn't ask your worker to hammer a nail with a saw. It might work, but eventually at what cost? Maybe let's talk about the tech stack nightmare more, and about how the bolting tech together, what happens and what not. So people try to connect different CMS, PM, CPQ, and CAD and ERP solutions, and hope that everything works smoothly with each other, talks smoothly, communicates, goes back and forth. So, and this is basically trying to cover using multiple tools to cover one workflow. It's sort of like this old telephone game. You hope that right information reaches the last player, and often is the case that the last player is the production floor, and they don't get the right information because something broke in the middle. So yeah, usually companies have 5 to 7 tools covering one workflow, tens of thousands of euros a year just to keep them running, plus the time to manage them. And you will and you're still burning someone's time because the chain keeps breaking and someone has to fix it manually. So you don't have a business solution, you rather have like a headache created by system management. So the framework, what should an actual solution look like? One where this entire flow is automatic, not specifically faster, but automatic and even independent. The customer comes to your website. Here is this short example video from our partner Valenium, who's doing focus rooms. So basically the customer comes to the website, configures the product they want, what kind of variations, whatnot. The system calculates the prices in real time. The quote is generated automatically during the time when the customer is playing with the configuration, and at the same moment, and this is part that actually matters the most, the production ready files are generated, and if the sale happens, those same files can go directly to the production floor. So the product isn't just visible on the screen, it's ready to be built. And that's basically the framework Materia is built on. And everything we show you next is built on this sort of idea. So what actually changes for the company? The old way we already sort of touched, where we have different tools together, there are different bottlenecks. So the production files can't go to production floor, etc. So the new way should be that the system generates the quote, but the production files are auto-generated at the same, and one platform covers the full cycle, and sales can operate completely independently. That last point is the structural change. So your sales team can now handle volume that would previously have required significantly more headcount. And I think maybe there's a good question to think about or ask is what would it mean for your business to have an automated sort of independent 24/7 sales process? Before we get to the example, one important mindset shift that has to happen. The question shouldn't be, how do we speed up our current process? But the question should be, how do we build a system where the process runs itself? So a configurator is the outcome of the well-structured system, just like building a house. You start with the foundation. Step by step, you reach a complete solution. So our goal isn't to speed up the process. Our goal is to build a process that runs itself. So here is the three things that must be true in order to build the foundation, sort of. First, product logic needs to be codified. Every rule your team currently applies mentally or manually when looking at a quote request needs to be written into the system. Second, the pricing rules need to be structured. The system calculates, not a person or Excel or some different solution, but once the logic is in the system, the math is right every time. And finally, the third point is output connects directly to production, no manual handoff at the end of the chain. And I think it's important that we're honest here. This isn't a plug and play solution. It's about getting your product logic into the system. To get the product logic into the system, it needs work. But once it's done, the process runs itself. So this isn't just an IT project, it is a sales infrastructure project. Here is an example with one of our clients, Saku Metall, a garage door producer. Before they implemented the Materia, the coding process basically took 2 to 3 months. They used Excel, sending emails back and forth. The production files were done manually. many revisions going back and forth, so the process was long and tedious. After they implemented Materia, everything happened 160 times faster. Production-ready files, auto-generated, everything full self-service. The return on the investment was achieved in 3 months almost. And again, it's important to point it out that it's not the speed that's important here. It is the 90 to 95% self-service rate. Think about what that could mean for your business. This is sort of this permanent structural change. So about Materia itself, Materia is basically 2 products working as one unified system. The storefront, Materia storefront, is where the sale basically happens. It's what your customers, your partners, your sales teams interact with. It includes the web shop. It has the 3D configurator, the partner portal, depending what you want for your business logic. And then we have the Materia hub, where the product logic lives, where files are generated automatically, where order data flows into your ERP. This is sort of this. You can manage everything about your product there. So we are not replacing your business management system. You're replacing everything that sits between the customer product decision and the ERP entry. So what this replaces? The current state usually is 5 to 7 tools, fragmented tech stack, constant maintenance overhead. And where we want to go is the future, basically. But to get to the future, your sales process needs to work as one unified platform and system. And this is something Materia helps you build based on your business logic, not as a one-size-fits-all solution. This is the new way to have sort of competitive advantage and even increase, hopefully, revenue. And to maybe close off the webinar, there are some questions to think about. Can your sales process be more efficient? Do you want to offer your customers and partners a smooth self-service experience? And do you want to grow revenue? I think everyone knows the answer to those, and Materia can help to achieve them with a new way how to implement solutions into your sales processes. That's it from my side.